recording for our. Okay. So I hope you're able to see my screen. So now what you are seeing is the coding platform, as we already mentioned. So for example, for doing any work, we need a medium. For drinking water, we need a cup or bottle. So it's in the same way, to write a code, we need some platform where we need to write. So this is what the app called as Visual Studio. I already explained, right? So Visual Studio is the one which is I was using. Okay, so and I also mentioned in the previous session, right? So what is the difference between a PDF and a Word? So what makes it the difference? So it's all about extension. Okay. So PDF key dot PDF అని ఉంటుంది, word key dot word అని ఉంటుంది. It's all about extension that we are giving. So that extension is what makes the difference between one form of document to the other document. But whatever the thing you create in your system, all are like documents only. Word కావచ్చు, PDF or Excel or PowerPoint, anything it may be. So it's a document only, but the extension that you give, dot ppt కావచ్చు, dot pdf, that makes the difference between those. In the same way here, the extension, so dot html, dot js, dot css, this what makes the difference between one document to other. Okay, so now let's jump into the html. Okay, so the people who are came today, don't worry about what we are discussed. So I in depth explained about what is the document structure and how this can be created in the previous session. So it's a 1 hour class, so you can just check it clearly. Okay, so you just see what we are doing. Okay, so in the previous session we have discussed like what is the structure of html, what is the requirement for writing a structure to the html, and we discussed. Okay, so you don't need to worry about that much. Now you need to, what we are going to discuss now is it is all about body and what html is basically created of. Okay, just give me a minute. Let me. Okay. What is this? 1 second. Okay, I thought of going to board. No issues. I'll explain here only. So here, if you see, before jumping into HTML, as already mentioned, HTML is JavaScript are the parental languages, right? So when you are writing an HTML, you need to know the structure, what makes it right. For example, if you take a building, one building, if you take any building, take this as an example. So what is the backbone of this building? Or building block we call in our language. So backbone, what is the backbone of this building? Pillars, then foundation. So before pillars, foundation is the one which is the main backbone to our building. Then pillars. So we can't to construct the building without foundation. Even if you construct, what happens? Break off. There is no proper construction. Within 2 days, it will break off. So even if you construct without pillars, you can't grow it more higher. 1 floor, it is okay. But if it is more than that, you can't handle it. So in the same way, the HTML also, there are building blocks, nothing but backbones. Okay, so the building blocks of HTML, we call it as. Okay. What are the building blocks of HTML basically? So those are the tags, and second one is the what? Attributes. What you said, I didn't heard. Loud. Elements. Good. So tags and becomes elements. Good. Okay, tags and attributes. So first we will see what is this tags basically about. For example, so this is what called as comment. Okay. So where I will see the output generally. If you want to check where the whatever I'm writing, if you want to check the code, where I can check it. So I need to open, as soon as I open this file, it will open in a browser. Why? Because these are web application files. So as soon as you click on it, it will open. For example, in your mobile, if you want to watch a image, if you click on it, by default, if it is iPhone, it will open photos. If it is Android, it will ask, because we'll have multiple apps to view the images. So it will ask which app you want to use. So in the same way, it will ask for which browser you want to use. So I kept already Chrome is my default browser for HTML files. So it is open directly. So in the same way here, whatever the files you develop, okay, so these all opens in the browser. It is your convenience which browser you want to use. Okay, all the browsers give the same output and same compatibility nowadays, most of the browsers. So you can use anything. Developer tools are common in all the things. We already discussed in the last session about what developer tools will do, right? So the developer tools also common in any frame, any browser you do. Clear? But try to avoid Safari. Why? Because Safari is not that much compatible to learn for the any framework. So try to avoid Safari. So this is called as the multi-line comments, we call it as. So what is mean by this multi-line comment is, so whatever you write in this, okay, so it will not, there is no execution for this, okay, it is just for developer purposes, simply to say. For example, so what is the purpose of putting, like if you are going from here to Andhra Pradesh, so every 100 or 50 kilometers, there is a board, okay, Andhra, Chittoor, if it is going to Chittoor, 160 kilometers, 120 kilometers, 80 kilometers, what is the purpose? So they're just mentioning how far we are, and also it is just for the reference of it. Even without reference, we can go. But if you have a reference, we'll have an idea like, okay, I was this much far from my destination. So that is what the advantage. In the same way, the developers also need to know, as I mentioned, if you take Amazon, so header code, okay. If I mix all the code in a single phase, what happens? Tomorrow, if I get an issue in particular section, I can't segregate the code separately. So definitely I need something to mention, okay, this is the code particularly. So that's where we come in with the comments. These comments, what it will help the developer for more productivity of code. Okay. So this is called as the multi-line comment. And if we have a one more type of comment called as single line comment. So if you do two forward slashes, so it is for JavaScript. Okay, it is called as the single line comment. So multi-line comment can be indicated by this: open with the less than symbol and exclamatory mark and two hyphens, and then closing with two hyphens and greater than. So whatever you write in between, it will be considered as the comment. Okay. So now let's open this file in the browser. What is the file name? Introduction, right? Yes. Okay. So if you see, so this is what my, so if you say I don't have anything here, but I return whatever I return, if you inspect, you already know how to do inspect. Right click and you can do, or else shortcut is Control Shift I is the shortcut. Okay. So if you see here, whatever I return, I didn't save it. That's why my comment is not visible. So whatever I write in that file, it will not automatically update. Right. For example, if you take your Word file as an example, you return your whole resume you created, you close it without saving. Maybe your system is shut down. What happens? Everything is lost. But here we are not losing. But the same, until unless you close that without saving, it will ask. Nowadays, even Word file asks, you want to save or delete. For example, for our God's sake, for our bad luck, if it is gone means gone. Here also same thing applies. Every time whenever you completed your typing last word, click on Control S. Nothing but save the file. Don't forget to save your file. So now I saved the file and it will not directly update. I need to reload my page. If you see now, as you can see my comments here or not. But as this any of these is getting shown here. No, right. But if I write something out of the comment and save it, and if I go back to the browser and if I reload, are you able to see? Yeah, and also you're able to see that here also, right? So that is what called as the comments. Okay. So if you see now, as I was working in the local, okay, and it was a very basic HTML file. So what I was doing every time was reloading. So there is a second way called as server based. Okay. So that means simply to say, just imagine your call app. Okay. So your call app, every time you need to keep it active, or whenever you get a call, automatically you'll receive a call. Just simple question. So in your mobile, call app will be there. Okay. So like Instagram, for example, first let's talk about Instagram. So Instagram, for example, I was not using it. Okay. I didn't open it for 2 days. So if I get a notification, so will I directly get it, or until unless I open it, will I able to get the notification? So if I was given a background app optimization option, that means to give a permission to run in the background, okay, I'll get the notification. But if I didn't give it the option of running in the background, what happens? The apps become idle. They'll become completely not used. So no network, nothing. So even if I send a message, I can get like user is offline. Even he's using internet. Why? Because he's not using that app for a long time, right? So, but the calls, if you take, even if you don't use for 1 year, if you put charge, what happens? You'll receive a call. Why? Because continuously it's happening. So that is the difference between a static and a servers based service running pages. For example, the same page I can run through server. There is an extension for my Visual Studio. Okay. Yeah. So there is an option for me called as Go Live. Okay, it is one of the extensions. The major reason why people like Visual Studio is because it gives more advantage. So there is an option called Go Live. So I can give it to HTML files basically. So what is this Go Live is? As soon as I click on this, it will start a server, like a original server, however you have in the backend. So it will start a server. See, I got this file, same output. Both the files have the same output or not? See, same HTML introduction, title, and both have same name. But for example, if I change something here, HTML elements, I, okay, I saved it. So as soon as I save it, if you see, is it got updated here? Which file I opened directly by double clicking, I opened this file. But when I reload, I got my change or not? But if you go to here, did I reload this page? No, but I got my changes. Not only this. For example, if I write HTML elements and attributes, I written something like this. If you see what happened, as soon as I come back to the web page, it's updated. So it is what nothing but linking with a server. Okay. So what it will do, it will not depend on to you to reload. You reload yes, I will depend on it. As I was running this file in a server type, so what happened? There is a server that is already running in this particular port ID. So it will take a particular port and it will run the server. If you see here, see port 5500. So in your whole system, wherever, for example, what I'll do, this is the IP. So I'll copy this. And if you see here, if I give this IP, what happened? I got that folder structure, which are the files are there in that particular server. So now I can choose any file. If I choose this file, I got my output or not. So here what happening? Because as my server is running, simply it is same as Amazon. So as Amazon is always up and running, I can use that Amazon URL in any browser, or I can use it any device. Okay. But here, this will work as it is a local server, not a dynamic server. So in your device only you can access. In your device, any browser you take, and if you give this URL, what happens? It will work out. Clear? So, and it will be the changes will be automatically updates. Why? Because it is linked with the server. It is not linked with the local file. Clear? So that server in the sense local server. Okay, don't again think in a different way. So that's how basically my files output will be visible. Okay, I can see by normal reloading or by server. So I prefer go with reloading only. Why? Because when you're developing, you don't need every time your page to be reloaded. Okay, automatic updation. Sometimes we need the old changes to be seen to check whether the new one is updated or not. If you just going in a server, what happens? When you type here and save, it will change them. So you'll be get confused sometimes. So starting stage, better go with reloading option only. Okay. So let me stop this. I don't want this. I was disposing. See, now server is now offline. So now if I go there and if you see, if I reload, what happened? The site can't be reached. This is the usually you will see this message in many websites and it is down, right? Same thing here. As the server is down and it is not on, so what happens? It is showing refuse to connect. This guy's site can't be reached. Clear? So that's how we'll check and see this one same thing. Reload. But if you go with the local file, how many times you may, whatever you may do, it will there until unless the file is get deleted in the local. Until unless you didn't delete that file, it will update as soon as you reload, it will take the change because here you are depending on the path of the file. Okay, because this path is not going to change. You whatever you do, this path will be constant. For example, if I remove this file from this path and if I try to access, then it will tell error. Same, so it can't be reached that the file proper path is not there. So that's how we'll use check the outputs of HTML files. Clear? So now let's get back here. So as as we are discussing, building blocks of HTML, tags and attributes. So why these are called as the building blocks is, now just imagine, I'll just give about my self introduction. I'll write something here. So where yeah. So I written in one line, second line I go with I'm a developer. Okay. I'm working for CNX. So now I saved it. So now if you see how good it is to read, each one is a one line. So anybody who check this, they can understand what I written. Three different lines. But let's go to the output and let me reload. So how I was getting output here? Single line. And is there any difference between my name and my designation and all? Everything will be same. So I was getting my output, but what happens? It was not readable, proper readable, and the way how it is represented is not that good. Same thing with the websites also. So whenever I was creating, for example, in Amazon, if you take, okay, just imagine. So if just imagine this is also with the same type of letters, okay, or else this all in the black color. What happens? It will be not that much good to read. Maybe the structure is good, the words are not readable, right? And see, now it is in here and it is there and it is in the down. But if I didn't give a proper, if I write in the same way like how we written in your local file, what happens? This all will come in a single line, and that we don't know where it is starting and where it is ending. So that is where my tags comes into the picture. So tags is what convert our normal writing text into a proper అప్లికేషన్ అప్లికబుల్ టెక్స్ట్ అంటే ఏంటి నువ్వు నార్మల్ గా రాస్తున్న టెక్స్ట్ కూడా ఇట్ వాస్ జస్ట్ కన్వర్టింగ్ ఇట్ ఇంటూ ఏ న్యూ టైప్ ఆఫ్ టెక్స్ట్ విచ్ ఈస్ మోర్ అట్రాక్టివ్ అండ్ మోర్ reasonable way. Okay, so I'll do the same way. Whatever I written, I'll write in a different way. So just imagine this is my name, so always I need to make it more bigger. So there is one I written in one tag, so I written in the other tag, I written in one more tag. Okay. So now if you see, now also same thing, three lines, but the difference is what happened? I just added a tag. The content is in between the tags. Tag local on the content. So if I go to the browser and if I reload, see what happened. My name I got. Okay. Is this fine? So if you see 3 lines, coming in different sizes and in a different look. But here, if you see in the local, so you, yeah. So here, if you see, all are the same size or not? I was did nothing. So same size, same lines, but the tags we added. So the tag, what it was doing, it was converting our normal text into a different format. So nothing but it was just adding few features to it. Okay. So if you just take an example like WhatsApp or Instagram, both are apps only, right? Or any app you take, all are apps only. But what is the difference? Each app is providing with different features. Insta is giving with different features, WhatsApp is giving different features. At the same time, like Telegram is giving different features, Amazon website is giving different, Amazon app is giving different features. So each and every app, all are apps, but with different features we are getting, right? In the same way here, each and every tag adds a feature to our next ఫ్యూచర్ అంటే ఏంటి జనరల్ టు సే ఇన్ తెలుగు వాట్ వి సే ఫ్యూచర్ ఇన్ తెలుగు తెలుగు మరి ఇంతమంది ఉన్నారు కదా తెలుగు వాళ్ళు వాట్ ఈస్ మీన్ బై ఫ్యూచర్ వాట్ చెప్పరా పర్లే రైట్ ఆర్ ఫస్ట్ రిమెంబర్ ఎక్స్ప్రెసింగ్ ఈజ్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ చెప్పరా పర్లే నాకు భవిష్యత్తు నో ఇట్స్ నాట్ బట్ ఓకే సో ఫ్యూచర్ ఇన్ ద సెన్స్ ఏంటి మా ఫ్యూచర్ అంటే జనరల్ అంటారు కదా కార్లో ఈ ఫీచర్స్ ఉన్నాయంటాం what
additional facilities.
that is in English I was asking in Telugu facilities also okay facility exactly okay so what happened each and every tag you ఒక్కొక్క tag ఏం చేస్తుంది it is giving ఒక్కొక్క సౌకర్యం ఇస్తుంది so that text is written in same way but it was just adding a new feature to it సౌకర్యం h1 is okay it should look bigger h2 I written okay h2 I written so it was telling okay as the user is written in this in future నేను ఏం చేయాలి దీన్ని చిన్నగా చూపించాలి I need to show it small next h3 I need to show it even small ఇంకా చిన్నగా చూపించాలి so like that the content is written writing is same but what happening the way in under which tag I was writing so it was just changing my complete view clear so for example now let's make a simple like see now I was what I was doing I was making in single line now tell me what will be the output I'll get why because of the tags however you write whether you write a side by side or down by side anyway but it will not give the same output then why you are writing it down by down why because because always it should be more readable okay that if you want the code to be productive it should be readable easily okay if I write side by side I can't read it that much clearly I can read it but it's very confusing because for example if you see here parent is there next one more if there is one more section inside down it what happens inside of it it will be too confusing but if it is down by down it will be good but at last when you working in the live works like if you're working for any company when you are uploading a code it will go by side by side only this whole empty spaces will be deleted why because the same way for example if your mobile have a 100 apps but your RAM is 2 GB what happens hanging it will not even let you to open a single image right same thing applies here so you may be able to open that but you can't it will take more time in the same way when you upload any code to the server okay deploy the code if it is taking more size okay so what happens automatically the performance reduces because every time my website needs load that much MB more network okay so if the network speed is low automatically it will take even if the network speed is high the size of the web application it will reduce the performance So that's why what people will do, once the building phase will be there, once the development is done, second phase is the building phase. So in that building phase, what happens? The whole code will be checked for errors. At the same time, the whole code will be minified. So in the servers, once the code is deployed, you can't find these type of files. You will find only minified files. As I already mentioned, what is meant by minified files in the previous session. Minified files in the sense, in that files, there will be no spaces, nothing will be there. Every code will be attached into a single punch. Clear? So that type of files will be called as minified files. Okay. So now, even though now we are writing that minified files, if we give you, we can't even develop. Why? Because that minified files, it's like a single paragraph. You can't read it, it can't be readable supportability. Okay, it is only server can read it, but we can't read with human eyes. Okay, so that's how, that is the advantage, and that is how my tags will work basically. So that is why it is called as the backbone of HTML. Why? Because just imagine if there is no text, how you will be able to write your web page and how you're going to create your web page, right? So each and every tags give you a different feature here. Clear? So now, so even though tags is a concept, there are different types of tags that you can. The same way apps are same, but different types of apps, right? So, getting sleep. Is it boring? So just let me know. Okay, if anything is boring, we can stop at the time. If it is 40 minutes, it's not a rule that we need to continue only for 1 hour. So if you people are bored or if any concept is stuff, you just say in between only. And we can stop and discuss the same topic back if it is confusing. If the topic is okay, but you're getting bored, we can stop at 40 minutes. Okay. It's not a matter that I need to complete 1 hour. Maybe sometimes that topic will be good. Then we can take more 1.5 hours. Okay. It works in that. So we'll continue or we'll stop it here. Okay. Okay. So let's go with the tags. So even though as we were mentioning, tags are important, the way of writing tags is also again different ways is there. For example, the first step is the void tags, we call it as. Okay. Void tags. Okay. So next one will be the self-closing tags. Self-closing tags. And next one will be the general tags. Okay, let's know about these three. That's more than enough. Okay. So what is mean by this void tags or self-closing tags or tags? So before jumping into them, let's see general tag structure first. Okay. In HTML, whatever the tag you create, there is a basic structure. It will, each and every tag will take. So that is nothing but, if you take the structure, so start tag, that means tag name, close, and whatever the content you want. The heck is this? So where we are discussing about structure. Okay. So as we are telling, so any tag that you take in HTML, it will have a basic structure. So that is nothing but start tag, nothing but whatever the tag, if you see here, the name of the tag is nothing but start tag. So then content, whatever the content you want to give in between, whether it's a image or anything it may be, that content will go here. So then again, whatever the tag you started with, don't forget that whichever the tag you started with, you need to end with the same tag. End tag. See, what is the difference between this one and this tag and this tag? So here I started open, here I ended. Difference is a forward slash is the only difference, which mentions that it is my ending of my tag. Okay. So that is how, whether you may create different tags with different tags inside of the tag also in the place of content, but when you're ending, for every tag there is ending is must. So this is the basic structure of general tags. Okay. So now, as you've seen, this is the basic structure. Now go with the second one called as self-closing tag. So what is this self-closing tags is the sense? Same way, it will have a start tag, but it will never have a ending. That's it, start tag only. But you may get it out like, where is the content I'll write? So the content here, this self-closing tags basically comes like these inputs and images. So for example, images we can't write. You have to pick it from somewhere. So that can be taken by using the attributes. This is where attributes come into the picture. For example, I got a car like same car example if you take. For example, I got a car. I can drive it even without AC. I can drive it without sunroof. I can drive it without roof also. But having a roof, having a sunroof, and having an AC, what are these called as? Additional upgrades, additional features to it. It is making it, giving us more features to make us more comfortable, right? So in the same way, I can create a tag, but the attributes is what gives me the additional features to get more grip on that particular tag. So for example, so how you can attribute structure will be is, so generally the attributes also again will get two types of structures. Let's go with first structure. So this is the start tag. So yeah. So as soon as after the start tag name, we'll go with the attribute name. Attribute name. So and it will be followed by value. Definitely, if I have some name heading, I need to give its value. For a tag, this is the value. But for an attribute, I'll give there itself with equal to and quotation marks. Okay, whether it's a single quotes or double quotes. So here I'll get the attribute value. Okay, so this is one type of structure of adding attributes. Okay, so attribute value I can give, sorry, attribute name and attribute value. So there is a second way of writing an attribute. So that is, so these type of attributes generally, these are like single valued attributes, we call it as. That means it will have a direct one name and direct one values. For example, width. So width I'll give like name as width equal to 100 px. How much width? Direct values and direct names. But there is a way there where multiple attributes, multiple features can be added to the element. So in such cases, the structure changes. So how it will be is, so attribute name semicolon attribute value. And that means, for example, I want to give more than one attribute sometimes. Okay. So like color, font size, I need to give in this way. So in such cases, what happens? These type of attributes comes with multiple values. So how I can convert into multiple values is, so the main attribute name will handle, like it will give us a feature of handling multiple things. For example, there is an attribute called style. Style, what it will, style is equal to question quotes, and I can write like first attribute name as color, colon, color red. So I need to give one more value like font size. So within the same double quotes inside, what I'll give? This one, semicolon I'll give. So again, I'll write one more attribute name and attribute value. So it go on continues. How many you want? Colon, you put, go on writing how many. Font size, I can write font size is the attribute name, 12 px, 20 px is my value. Same thing. Next, text align is the property name. So okay, sorry, not attribute name, we are mistaken. Property. Sorry, I got little confused. So property name and property value. So don't think like properties of HSR layout properties became properties. Okay, these are the properties, like which property you are using, like the font size or like generally to say color, or these are the properties we call it as. So that is how it will work. So property. So property name, property value, like that you can go on. How many you want to give? You can give many things. So here in the same way, when it comes to the self-closing tags, images as I said, so start tag will be there. But Along with that, I'll get my attribute name, and I'll get the direct values, attribute value. So even in this, for this also, you can add this thing. These methods will also apply sometimes, like property name, property values, different properties. Where, for example, just imagine for image, if I was picking from a particular place, okay, the path will be same or not. For example, simply to say, I want to go from here to Chittur. So Chittur, the path will be fixed or not, or else it will change. Like, okay, if I go to Tollgate, it will change like that. Destination will where I need to halt. Okay. So for example, I need to halt here, or I need to halt in some other place or anywhere. That it is decided by me. Okay. Why? Because I can decide whether I need to stop at Tollgate or whether I need to stop at any hotel or anything. It depends on me based on my comfort. In the same way here, for self-closing tags, one main attribute will be there. Like just imagine, for images, you need to give the path, like from where it need to pick and what is the name of that image. So that is fixed, right? So that is called as main attribute name and attribute value. But for that, what is the height and what is the width or what is the background you want to give, that is up to you, alternatives. So in that case, what you can do, you can use this second method, like attribute name, within the attribute name, property, multiple properties you will be clear. So this is how my self-closing tags will work. The third type is the void tags generally. So these tags will called as, nowadays these are completely avoided in the latest version of HTML. So start tag and like this. Okay. So there is a difference between, so even the self-closing tags goes with this way only. Flash and there is a, why it was go on breaking. But if you go with void tags, okay, generally void tags you'll have like, I'll end this meeting, okay.